It'll be totally natural. Just say the exact same thing you just said.
Word for word. But
word for word. With the
you
same
start.
exact intonation.
You were the one who said something, and
I
then I
quote.
said, "Okay, now you go first, and then I go, and then." But remember, the third
last time you did it a little better.
Say that first.
Do it like you did last time. It was better.
Yeah. Okay.
That
was the thing.
It was just the subject of you start out to do something creatively, and then you little by little, probably a lot of people, not us, lose their way.
We would never lose our way from the truth. We wouldn't put socks on if our producer said so.
Right. That makes sense to all of you, doesn't it?
We would keep naked feet.
Right.
Because, damn it, that's who we are.
You understand the context here, don't you? It was this idea that, for instance, as a YouTube channel, you start out doing whatever you want. I mean, this is not us. But let's say a successful YouTube channel.
Yes.
We're not.
You can tell we haven't sold out.
Yeah.
You could tell by the views.
I mean, we could have if we wanted to. You can monetize 4 views. So you start out to do whatever you do, and little by little you realize if you do these sort of monkeyish things like on the thumbnail, or you start hawking products or start reviewing gear, you get a lot more views, and then you get more money, and then little by little you end up very far from your initial lifeboat. And I speculate, maybe not happy, but maybe you are happy, but it's certainly not exactly creatively what you set out to do, I would bet.
Yeah, that's what I was really funny because I was thinking about that this morning about how, wondering how many people sort of are compelled to make something and share it, and so how much of the because it's a really competitive landscape. We all know that if you have something to share and it becomes viral in one way or the other. I mean, even way back 50 years ago, before there was this kind of viral, there was other kinds of viral. There's this kind of success that you could get from being creative that I think it's like put blood in the water. Whereas there's people who just wanted to create. And I think some people who got successful because they really had something that they wanted to create. And then you get people who are like, ooh, this is maybe an easy way to get a lot of status or get a lot of admiration. So now all of a sudden you're competing with people who don't necessarily have something to say, but see it as a sort of like an opportunistic way to go. And then if you're competing against people, let's say you have something that's semi-challenging. Let's say you have something that's really important that you feel that needs to be shared, and it's challenging to the forces of culture or whatever. And then somebody else comes along and they're just like, how can I make something that sells?
Right. Well, that's got to be the age old thing where some people are like, I'm an artist, and that guy's just a cheap, suit, but he gets all the, he's figured out the formula and he gets all the attention. Right. That artistic resentment has to have been around forever. But I thought you were asking a slightly different question before we started recording, which is, how much?
You were going to say something interesting. Instead of that old artist versus businessman trope.
Let me just wave that aside with my hand and talk about the other thing, which is that's interesting too. But what I thought,
it's interesting
that we would like to.
We
hear
all
that.
enjoyed
if
it.
We had time. We would.
We have to prioritize that idea. We'll get back to it. But first, sorry.
Well, no, this idea. What I thought you were saying, and which you might not have been, was. This idea of like how many people are creating because they must create for the art, and how much people are creating because they want to get famous, they want to get renown. And if I'm honest, there's a little bit of both in my aspirations. It's not really famous, but I like, but it's the appreciation that you get and the feedback and the buzz. That's part of it. It's not just like. I do think some people, like visual artists are a good example, will just create their visual art and they would do it to hang it on their own wall, or to not even hang it on their own wall, to stick it in the back of their garage because they're creating. And I admire that. But perhaps my artistic impulses are more about the creation, but also then the receiving of it by others.
Well, I mean, I have the same thing. And I think that I heard somewhere that you're not an artist if you're not sharing Your art
Jeez.
isn't art until until an audience sees it.
Well, what do
So
you
I
think
think
about that? I mean, what about this
well, that was
model
really
of the
validating because
creator?
I've heard this argument many times. It's just like, well, who cares? I mean, and I think that it's true. Like, who cares? Who cares about like huge outsized fame? I agree with that,
Mhm.
but that's the extreme version of actually, I think art is a communication. I think that
Hmm.
I mean, we're talking. If nobody hears what we're saying,
Which
then
theoretically,
they're not yet. Who someday somebody might look back. Who knows? But that's when we put it into the world. When it becomes it like when somebody sees it, I think that's the point at which it sort of is birthed into the world, not just when it's laying there on the ground, but when somebody picks up the book on the side of the road and says, "Oh my gosh, there's something interesting there." I don't think that should be conflated with a greedy ambition.
right?
But the way I was thinking of it is, what I came to is that maybe it's good. You have a super flood of creative people happening now in a
Yeah.
way that I think that art should maybe be treated more like being a plumber. Like, if people weren't trying to shoot for like, I want to be on the cover of a magazine, but like there art is important. It is like a community that doesn't have any art, and every kind of art, a community that doesn't have visual art, a community that doesn't have music, that doesn't have people writing books or having conversations, or just all the different theater, all the different things.
Is no
Those, I think,
community at all.
well, it's just it's a very dry, arid way to
And a
live.
community without plumbers is
Also bad.
Yeah, in all manner of ways.
Arid is the opposite of what it is. With no plumbers, it's yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to take your sincere point and make a joke with it, but I think it's a good point. You said something in there about like this sort of, even though we were joking because no one is actually watching our art, we are not sharing it, although we're sharing it with each other, I guess, here. If this is art, is this art? I guess this is art. Anyway, point is,
well, it could be practice. It could be this could be working its way to becoming art.
It could be working its way to becoming art. And there's this sort of also this sort of idea that you said in sort of in jest, but it's I will admit to having thought it sometimes. It's like maybe someday people will watch this. Like for some reason you hit it big and then you get super fans and then they go back through the entire library. And I was thinking actually like what a glut of content that even the most super fan would be just like, oh God, I'm only on, like, take someone who I've used Prince as an example before, but Prince is one of those just like unique, rare talents that inspires devotion. And I've known many just devoted Prince fans who know every B-side. But if you had an hour a week of conversation from Prince for like a year or more, would you watch it? Like, what level of super fan absolute nut would you have to be to watch someone talk? It's almost like part of stardom used to be a little bit of rarity in access, and so like if you found, oh my gosh, did you see that one interview that like what is that, 60 Minutes with Prince from 1980, that then you might watch it. But like, did you see those 15 60 Minutes episodes with Prince? You'd be like, I saw one.
Yeah. No, it's a really interesting point, but I think, if you look back to the 50s and sitcoms were sort of cranked out back then, they were sort of they were figuring it out, and they were pretty schlocky. They were written really fast. I mean, they still probably had a team of 30 people working on it, or more. And you wouldn't want to go back and watch all of those. And yet the highlight reel might be kind of cute. And those actors might have gone on to do other things. And I think that part of the ecosystem is, it's like with an actor that you really like, they're in the blockbuster, and then you think, oh my gosh, or that actor for some reason has got something that I like. And then you see the next thing and it's just sort of like, it's sort of just really relying on them sort of like looking out the window and being pensive. And if for super fans, they're just like, I don't know why, but I just like looking at this person looking out the window because they're so interesting.
Yeah.
Which is not everybody, but
Right.
part of this, I think, because there are people that do this and actually have 100, let's say, people who watch. And I think that still would be the same story. You wouldn't want to go back in 20 years and watch everything, but you might like just hanging out with these people for a while, and that gives them the chops to like find their highlight reel and realize what's good. And
Yeah. Highlight
I'm
reels.
boring myself.
Well, what I get out of that, that confirms my belief in highlight reels. My dog agrees with that one. I don't know if you heard that yap, but he was like, "Me too.
NATO is the only thing you're doing that's worthwhile. Don't put up these long videos.
As he trots by.
I've been saying that for weeks. Highlight reel.
That'd be a great character on something, as a dog that just talks like just targeted, small, subtle talking shit as he walks by. Just like dog who just consistently, just some cutting little comment as he trots by. This is the dog.
Me sad. Yeah, but it would be a good character, yes.
Sort of like Family Guy-ish maybe or
Yeah, I was
something.
thinking family. That's what that made me think.
Yeah, oh gosh, he's...
Yeah, I guess it's all been done before. What's the point?
Are you still making the music, man?
This week, I mean,
Are you making a production of The Music Man?
I started 3 different songs on Tuesday, and really I've just been sort of like just continuing to work on
Noodle
one
on
of
them. Is it the
Noodle
one that
on
you
it.
felt like is not your voice?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, this morning was the first time I tried it a little bit, and just from working it, I'm sort of like, oh, maybe this could be somewhere in the ballpark. It's still, I'm at the concession stand of trying to get into my own song.
Yeah, at the ticket gate. Well,
Yeah.
I do like this idea that there has to be a cone of non-judgmentalness around the creation of something. But yeah, I'm really familiar with all the doubts that come in of like, is this me, or is this right, or is this out of pocket or whatever. But I just feel like, yeah, there's got to be just like it's like the rules of brainstorming or something, right? No judging or no anything. It's got to be just like, it's happening. Let it happen. Let the judging happen later.
It went through my mind the thing that you said about, I don't know, maybe I said it, but it was.
I think it was me.
I think it was one of us who said no accountants in the writers' room.
Right. You said that. I mean, it was off of my point.
You said it, and then I sort of maybe refined it.
You refined it. You pulled out that
process.
specific.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I think I said in many more words and many less poetry. Many less poetry. What was the thing that you said at the end of the last show that we both cracked up about endlessly?
Thank you for. It was a thank you for.
I'm gonna look it up. It was thank you for talking. It was thank you for talking. Oh,
it was thank you for talking. It was thank you for talking. Yeah. Now the good one. Highlights. That's what it's all about.
Highlights. It was highlight. Look, we just highlight it. Well, okay, so you're still creating them. You're still on the path. Yeah. Go for it, man. Make it happen. Do the thing. Do it.
Yeah, I've managed to do my little process today. Also, this 4 days in a row, which
6 a.m.
is pretty good. I would say
6 a.m.
I would say on the mountain before 7.
Yeah.
So getting up in the 6 o'clock hour and whatever I needed to do to get the dog ready and get out. And
actually on the mountain.
On the mountain.
I thought you were using that metaphorically. You were using that.
I've been to the mountain.
Literally.
Find my house.
Yeah, you were using that. I thought that was it felt like terminology that you nod your head and like, oh yeah, on the mountain. I think it actually could really work that way. Completely works metaphorically. Like, you got to get up and get out. Like, I could get up and come downstairs here and
call
get
it
on,
the mountain.
getting
the
on the mountain before
Yeah.
7 a.m. But you actually mean literally on the mountain with your dog hiking.
Yes, and I'm recording all of these, and I'm having all these thoughts, and I'm recording them, and because that's when my mind is just like firing, and
Mind is
generally
aglow with rivulets.
rivulets, yes, and generally what I do is I torture my wife with all of my thoughts, and because she had COVID. But also because I've started to sort of
She
notice
faked
that,
COVID.
and she faked COVID just for this. No, it's really would be the biggest favor to me because she is like a good sport. She really tries, but at the same time, this is one of the cruelties of fate that I'm a morning person. Or maybe this actually, for many reasons, this works out. I am a morning person, and Katrina is a night person. She's not a morning person. She, before coffee, she can't. Her engine is she's just.
And
like,
I might just add here that you are like a morning person. It doesn't even quite describe it, just from my limited experience of.
Thank you.
Yeah, like when you stay here, it's like you're like aglow in the morning. You're like a buzz, ready to go.
Yeah.
Limbs akimbo.
And that's what's so amazing about this week is that I'm like, okay, no one should be subject to this. And really the reason that I do it, the reason that I can't stop is because despite sort of getting clues that people are like, I think I've had enough. The reason I can't shut myself up is because I am so
brilliant.
I love it. I think it's all brilliant. I'm just like, we can't stop this. This is like, this is the show. I'm watching the show and really enjoying it.
Right.
And so getting out on the mountain and just talking to the camera, I get to give myself the show that I want. And then I come back and then I sort of put some of it into Descript, and I sort of like, does any of it make sense? And so it's so far. It's really hard to know if I can actually make any highlights out of it. That's my whole goal, is to just like rant and then highlight it. And so far, it's bad. It's like mostly no good. But it would be but I have this hope because I'm still, even as I'm watching the long, stuff that I would never subject anyone to.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is good. It's brilliant. If it was only coherent.
Yeah.
And so my that's my big prayer, that somehow I figure out how to make this process into something that the raw material is good enough to produce something that I can do.
And I like it.
It's a great process.
I like the idea of just getting on the mountain and doing that regularly and not worrying too much about it, not being great. And it reminds me of something from my life. So now I will relate something from my life related to what you were relating from your life, from my life.
What this whole thing is about.
That's how conversation works. Okay. My older daughter, is working on, aspires to be a soccer player. I mean, is a soccer player, aspires to be a better soccer player, aspires to play soccer throughout her life. Football, you may know it, yes. And she hasn't
For
ever...
our European listeners?
Football in other languages.
For our South American listeners?
Footy. I don't know if footy is actually a different sport, a different version of the same. Anyway, this is not the point of the story.
Okay.
Oh God.
The translations? Okay, we've lost it. Hold on, get back on the horse. Your daughter, who aspires to playing her lifetime of footy.
If they had the live audience graphs,
we're losing them.
It'd just be fluttering downwards. She's never really. We've sort of, for a while, her coaches are like, oh, she really could improve if she just put in some extra time juggling, extra time kicking the ball against the wall, whatever. One reason or other, it's never happened, and she's 12 now, and she's been 11 and 10 before this.
She's 12. She's a has-been.
So, no big deal. But she finally got on.
I'm joking. She's not a has-been.
Right. There's some delay here. We finally got on a path here. God, this is a painful story. We finally got on a path where she is putting in work every day, and it was by sort of this idea of a 20-minute a day workout. 20 minutes is so non-threatening. It's so easy and we split it up and we sort of created a little thing, 3 minutes of this, 3 minutes of this, 2 minutes of this, 1 minute of this. And she's got her little program. And then this is a trick that worked for me, and I've tried it with her before. It didn't work, but it worked this time, which is you print out a little calendar of the days, and each day you get to check it off. You either have a checkbox or you circle or whatever it is. So then you're seeing up on your wall your progress. And man, it's like day 9 or 10. She's done it every single day, just 20 minutes a day. And you'd think, 20 minutes a day, that, 2 minutes or 6 minutes of juggling a day, that's not going to do that much. But as the days build up, it does. And you can already see her improving and feeling good about it and sort of getting into the rhythm of it. So I'm sort of taken with this idea of just get out there every day. And it doesn't even have to be a long time. Just get there every day and see yourself improve. Not that I do any of that for myself, but I like that.
I like the whole, you've seen that in movies a lot with the calendar, and they X the calendar.
Yes.
This is like, I did the thing. Habits.
That really works for me, that posting a calendar on the wall and either making myself a checkbox. I do love to check a checkbox. So sometimes I've made these calendars that just have a checkbox in every single day, and then you just red mark it. And then when you pass by, you're like, you either feel good about it or you're like, oh crap, it's been a few days, and you got to check it.
Who is it? So the Kurt coach said if she did this and if she did juggling and like these would be good exercises for her to do every day.
Yeah, that had passed though. But then I just looked up and I watched some YouTubes, and I found a YouTube of a guy that I liked his style. I liked how accessible the stuff was, and he had a series of exercises, and I was like, all right, this is it. How to improve technical skills in soccer. I used YouTube.
I want to find. I wish there was something for my I wish I knew who the coach was for my own process, to be like, to sort of point out, is this like, here's what you should work on, because part of it is that I'm having ideas that I want to be able to channel from the universe in real time, because I don't want to be scripted. But I wonder if there is a way, if there are skills that I could build up that would just help me get better.
What occurs to me about that is that if you did find someone who's doing sort of something akin to what you're doing as a creator on the internet, on TikTok or whatever it is, you probably reach out to said person and solicit help or coaching, because they probably are not bombarded with people asking for their time.
Yeah, this is because money wise, these people are the plumbers. They're becoming the class of plumber artists, of people who are just like, if I know of them, they're good enough.
Plumber artists.
But it's still.
We'll workshop that one.
You don't think it's good?
I think it's good. Like it says a lot. It's not inspiring.
That's what. To me, it's inspiring. That's what I would love, because plumbers make a decent living.
It's just really hard to get away from the fact that they are plunging shit a high proportion of the time. I mean,
I don't think that wrecks the metaphor at all.
Actually strengthens it, doesn't it? I mean, electricianism has always appealed to me, and it's probably not uncommon for musicians, is my guess.
That's, and there is a lot of sort of like wiring and stuff that happens. But the point is a working man's, you still want to be good. You still want to have a good reputation. Reputation is the word I'm looking for.
Repumentation.
Oh. I have a good reputation. Do you have any repumentation?
The most important thing to me is my repumentation.
Repumentation. Look, I don't care about anything you say. I just care about your repumentation. Repumentation, and that's a good. It's got a good feel to it.
It does. I can't tell what it means or what it communicates, but I like it too.
Well, thank you, sir, for another day of creative therapy.
Erudite conversation and therapy and broadcast.